Alright, so I want to take a little bit of time to introduce myself. I think it's always important to do that with a new class and just kind of let you know a little bit about who I am instead of like just, always talking about class assignments. So I'm going to share with you a little bit of my background. I'm originally from the coast area, St. Martin specifically. I grew up in St. Martin, and then in high school, my mom remarried, and we actually moved to Lumberton, which was a huge culture shock for a 13-year-old girl. And I went to Poplarville High School, and I graduated from Poplarville. So whenever I graduated from Poplarville, I actually came to Pearl River for my first 2 years of college, and after that, I graduated. I went to USM. So while I was at USM, I majored in marketing. I knew when I graduated high school that I wanted to do something in an office environment. I really wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do, so marketing sounded like a good idea, and that's what I did at USM. I really got interested in like event planning and promoting events and things like that. That was very interesting and fun for me. While I was at USM, I actually did an internship at the Beau Rivage in Biloxi, and that was really fun. I interned in the advertising department, and that was a really fun summer that I did that. And then after I graduated, I actually got a job as student activities director at William Carey University in Hattiesburg. So that was my first, I call it my first big girl job. I love that job because it was event planning, and that's what I was interested in whenever I graduated college. So that was just right up my alley. I really enjoyed it. And while I was working full time at William Carey, I actually completed my Master's of Business Administration. So I got my MBA from William Carey while I was working there. And I was there for 6 years as the activities director. And as in that position, that's really where I kind of started to foster my passion for student development. And I was able to gain a lot of knowledge about best practices and orientation in general. I did a lot of research, and I got to learn about that in particular and helping prepare students when they first enter college. That was just, I don't know, fascinating to me. So about that time in my career, that's whenever I applied for this position at Pearl River. So my title here is First Year Experience Orientation Coordinator. So that's a lot of words, but really that just means I am the coordinator for our orientation sessions, which we call ROAR. So I'm in charge of ROAR and making sure that they go smoothly and well. My office is located in the Office of Student Success. So that's the office that I work out of. So whenever I am not doing ROAR related activities, I work up here and we do advising for students. So I am an academic advisor as well. And in addition to that, I also teach a couple of the college life classes. So that's what I do here at Pearl River. I've worked here at Pearl River in this position for almost 4 years. While I worked at William Carey, and when I was in college, I lived in Hattiesburg. I lived there for about 11 years, and somewhat recently I moved to Gulfport, so I'm back on the coast. I moved there about 2 years ago, and I really love being back down there. I feel like I'm back home, so I enjoy that a lot. I also have a son. He's almost 2 years old. He'll be two in a couple months. So when I'm not at work, I'm just like keeping up with him. He definitely takes up a lot of my time, and he's just at a fun age right now. And so when I'm not working, I am running around chasing after him. So when I'm not at home taking care of my kid, let's see, I'm trying to think of other things about me. I love to read. I read a lot of books. I listen to a lot of audiobooks. So since I live in Gulfport and I work in Poplarville, I drive a lot and have a lot of free time. when I'm driving. There's not much that you can do while you're driving, so I love audiobooks. I listen to that in my commute or during my commute. I like crafty things. I also, oh yeah, craft. I learned to knit over the holiday break, so that was fun. I like to cook as well, and I try to garden. It doesn't always go well, but I've had like a rosemary bush for like a year and a half, so I would say that's semi-successful. I won't share with you how many other plants that haven't made it in that 2-year period, but I've managed to keep 1 or 2 plants alive, so I would say that's a success. All right, so hopefully you feel like you know me a little better. I hope that you feel really comfortable communicating with me and emailing me and communicating with me at any time. Like I said, I work in the Office of Student Success, so I am on campus in front of my computer Monday through Friday, 8 to 4. So if you communicate with me during those times, you're pretty likely to get an immediate response from me. I do always check my email on my phone, so even if you message me in the evenings or on the weekends, I try to get back with you as soon as I can. It may not be immediate, but on the syllabus it says that I communicate within 24 hours, so I definitely try to get back sooner than that, but definitely within that time frame. I always like to kind of open up the floor and open up questions to my students in this time that you're getting to know me. So in the past, what I've done for my in-person classes is that I've had my students just come up with questions and like write them down on index cards. So I actually have some cards from my past classes that I'll share with you just to kind of give you an example of some questions that people like to ask me, because I'm going to open that up to you. I'm going to create an assignment. It's going to be just a closed text box where you can, nobody else will see your question. You can ask me whatever you want. And next week, after I receive everyone's questions, I'll make another video answering all of those questions. And usually that is very helpful because maybe you didn't think to ask me something, but you didn't know, and someone else asked it. So that should be really fun, interesting, and hopefully informative video. But the questions, you can ask me anything about myself. I share a lot about who I am and my background with my major and career and the previous schooling that I've had. So if you have questions about that, that's completely open, whatever you want to know. If there's anything about Pearl River in general that you don't know, you can ask me that as well. So I'll read through some of these previous questions just to kind of give you an idea. So one of these cards, it says, how can you get a job on campus? So that's a good question. If you don't know that, you go to the financial aid office. There's a work-study application. Who do you talk to about dropping a class? How many hours do you have to graduate? Do you think college gets easier to manage the longer you're here? This one, how did you know what you wanted to be? I always get a variety of questions, so that's why I like to open it up to you and the students, just so I can answer any questions that you have. So make sure to open up that assignment, send that to me, and I will post that video next week.